Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Let's take a look at that cup one more time. I don't really want to get into any hockey updates today. It's our because the series is hanging in the balance as we're tied with the Florida Panthers, the Maple Leafs right now. So let's touch the cup for good luck, Chris. I am still first in the hockey pool. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Nice.
So if I can win back-to-back years, that'll be nice, but my team is also the Maple Leafs in the pool. So let's hope we can bring it home here when we come back to Toronto. But anyways, this is our weekly comic book review show, everybody. This is where we get together every week and talk about the comics that we've read and sometimes some hockey talk, sometimes some other things of interest as well make their way onto the show. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We have all kinds of different types of shows here on the channel. You can go check out our playlist. We talk movies, we react to movie trailers, talk movies and other things like that. If you guys missed it, there was an episode that came out with Rob and JT talking about the hockey playoffs. I guess at the end of every round, they've been kind of getting together and they're going to be talking about, their predictions for the next round, who's going to, win and move on. And so look forward to that. So you'll get at least, 2 more episodes of that throughout the NHL playoffs, kind of like a sports check-in for hockey throughout the coming weeks. And that's in our playlist as well, or just go back in the video feed and check out maybe from a week or two ago. I think they got together to do that. And this week, we're going to be talking about new comics that came out for the week of May 7th, 2025. And spoiler warning, if you're worried to get spoiled about what happened in the books here today, we are going to be, going into what happened in them. We're going to be showing off some of the art. So just be forewarned. You can always read your books and then come back. All right, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
Talk some comics. Cheers. Cheers. All right, first up on the docket here today, some series ended this week, and one of them here is Black Canary Best of the Best #6, the conclusion of this mini series. What'd you think of this, Chris?
That was okay. I don't know. I think it's kind of just ended on a bit of, I don't want to say a sour note, but I kind of had enough of this one. The whole way the series was put up there, with each round of or each issue being a round of the fight and, a little bit of backstory of what's going on. It's, I don't know, I didn't find the way they fought there very realistic. It's kind of, I'm down on my luck and coming back and all that. But, it held my interest. And, the art was decent, but I don't really have too much to say about this one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Ryan Sook art throughout, but like yourself, I also was expecting a lot more from the ending, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to lead up to a much more interesting of an end. But I guess at the end of the day, all it showed you was, I guess, the relationship between Black Canary and her mother and how that's affected her and kind of made her who the woman she is now. And, spoilers, once again, she does end up saving her at the end of this. She ends up throwing the fight, even though she knocked her out. So she kind of proved to herself that she can beat Lady Shiva here, and she does. But then as soon as she gets knocked down and she knocks her on her ass, she basically surrenders, yells, "I surrender," or whatever she had to call out at the end of the match, and basically gave the match to her. And then she was able to save her mother as a result, because she was supposed to throw the match in the 6th round and what's his name there, that Eternal guy,
Vandal Savage.
Vandal Savage, would basically save her mother. He had some sort of way to, since he has been around forever, eternal life, he's had some sort of cureness, I guess, to kind of for her to lengthen the duration of her life as a result of her, being sick there. But he was able to save her for the time being. So that's kind of where it ended. I mean, that was it. Like, it wasn't like I thought,
it needed something big to really, put a bow on this or something. But it just, like, I was expecting some sort of big swerve at the end, but nothing really.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to take it for what it was. I mean, you either like that or you don't. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll be rushing to add it to my bookshelf. You know, we read this digitally. Sometimes if I read things digitally, I'll go pick up the collection when it comes out. I think eventually I'll pick this up, but maybe like if I see it like used, you know what I mean? Like I don't think I'll be buying this outright as a new copy kind of thing. So if I can get a good deal on it or something, then probably I'll pick it up because, like I said, I like Tom King, I like Ryan Sook, the artist on here. But yeah, what'd you give this, Chris?
I give it a 3.75, I think, and maybe the whole series a 3.75.
Yep. Read my mind. That's exactly what I would give the series and this issue.
Those announcers did grow on me as the series went on, though.
The pattern did the dialogue between those guys did definitely get better. Like even the way it ended on that last page with them kind of summing up the match or whatever. I agree with you. I know at first it kind of seemed like very hokey, and we're just like, okay, what's he trying to do here? He got better. I agree. He kind of by this, I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. This scene was awesome too, where she kicked her right in the fucking chops. Yeah, I was like, oh, brutal. Like, you know, she kind of like charged at her, and she just like gave her this like kick to the face. So, like the way he drew like the action sequences, all really good. Like it's hard to kind of pull that off. Like, you know, thank God it wasn't just boxing. It was like mixed martial arts, this thing. So like he was able to do stuff like this, because if it was just boxing, I don't know if it would be as, you know, look as cool as it did, right? So the fact that they were able to toss each other around and do shit like that, I thought made for an interesting kind of fight. Anyways, yeah, there's the two signing off there at the end. All right. Let's see what else here. All new Venom number 6, Chris.
Oof, yeah, I've been picking this up here. You know, once we got our girl Mary Jane in the mix, you know, it's one of the best things I've enjoyed about this comic. You know, when they first threw her, you know, the word came out that she is now bonded with Venom. You know, he kind of groaned about that, but I think they're playing this great here. You know, I was excited to read this issue, kind of see what happened, and you know, this Carlos Gomez art just freaking takes it to another level. And you know, I'm all in on this soap opera between them. You know, just some of the, like, there was no real big fight in this one. It's Robbie, Paul, Mary Jane, and Venom just sitting together and talking. And I was at the edge of my seat just seeing what they had to say. Like, there's so many classic lines in this comic. I just
this part where he's like, "Hey," on the couch.
Yeah, like, even like just like the Paul lines there, they make him look like such a sap in this comic. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The first question is, you know, why are you two sitting like that? Then you turn the page and you see Venom's freaking got his arm around her.
I died laughing. They're like, "Oh, we have to stay bonded to one another somehow."
Yeah.
And then they go into the explanation of why that is, and I was like, you know what? It made sense when they're
and, you know, and like just the way that Carlos Gomez can flex his muscles here. You know, he gets to draw Mary Jane in all these different costumes and all that. You know, I thought that was great. You know, a little bit of fan service there, a little bit of crazy stuff, and then, you know, I think it doesn't get any worse than freaking Dylan shows up and he's got his comments there, and then freaking Paul's crying, and I just love the way they're writing this here. You know, they got he's got his finger on the pulse of the way everybody feels about these characters here. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely
like even that line with Spider-Man or with Venom, you know, goes, oh, you know, and Spider-Man, or, you know, Mary Jane's talking about how Spider-Man jumped into that arachnio to save her. And he goes, yeah, he does that. He's pretty amazing. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with this book. I totally agree. I'm shocked at how much I'm enjoying this. Like after that last issue where there's so many of those type of reveals for these books that I groan at, they come back with this issue where they fully explain how she actually became bonded with the Venom, with the symbiote. And yeah, it was really fun to hear about how that happened. You know, I love the art, obviously, like you said. I love the funny tongue-in-cheek type of dialogue that's going on here. Like you said, it's pretty self-aware of how ridiculous this is, but he's just having fun here, Al Ewing. I 100% agree with you. Like, it's a fun book.
I can't believe it's him writing this, really. Like, I didn't think he had this in him. Like, you know, reading all his other stuff always seems to be, you know, like freaking all this cosmic or just kind of baloney stuff, and then he comes out with this. It's crazy.
Very heady type of material. Yeah, exactly. Like even all that when you used to tell me about the last
Oh
Venom.
yeah, like yeah, I wouldn't believe like if you told me this was the same writer as the original Venom line, it's like
Right.
no way. But he should stick to some of this stuff here. I think
Uh,
it's very well written, because this could go sideways easily. I was just thinking, like this comic is almost like two steps away from being like Harley Quinn, like
yeah.
just getting to really, just kind of just zany stuff. But I think the art kind of keeps it grounded, and the story is very grounded, I feel.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I'm surprised at how much I'm liking this. I'm having a great time here. And then at the end of this, man, Carlos, he just goes full Gomez here. Mary Jane's got some cake, man. Like he shows some panels where she all of a sudden she's got like a huge caboose, and I'm like, whoa, what? I've never seen this Mary Jane before. What's going on here?
Carlos Gomez, he likes drawing Mary Jane, that's for sure.
Yeah, he
Like
goes
this,
full.
who's that guy in that Spider-Man versus Godzilla? These are some panels. He should be looking this. It should be a little bit of a blueprint.
Nick
When you
Bradshaw.
get a chance to get Mary Jane and Black Cat together, this is how you draw them.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. And then Dylan comes in. He's an asshole. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that with his dick comments. And like you said, I like how everyone's using Paul as a doormat because rightly so, he's the worst. And then also like the comments about how horrible the fucking invention that he created that is now
And he's sitting right there too.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, it's the worst. He's like, no, I had something set up so it would never fall on three skulls or whatever, like this stupid jackpot, like literal machine that he's got. Sorry, like a what do you call it? A slot machine, stupid mechanism that he made could actually kill her. And because of that, because of the fact the Venom, the symbiote actually helped her because she would have just killed herself, apparently, with the way this thing's all set up. Like she would have died eventually, is the way they were making it seem. But yeah, look at this. I mean, like, what's going on here with Mary? she's got that swerve panel. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here?
She's been out there superheroing, that's hard work.
Yeah, I just thought she looked thick here. Like, and then all of a sudden you end on like Agent Venom here at the end. Great stuff. Like, I love this issue. It was a great follow up to the reveal because at that point I was like, okay, I wonder if this book has anything else in it. If it was just gonna be this stupid hokey reveal, and then like we weren't gonna get anything else from it. No, it's got legs. It's got legs.
And supposedly down the road there, she's got to reveal this to Peter Parker sometime too. And hopefully it's not gonna be some sad sack Peter Parker there that he draws or that he writes for him.
Yeah, good stuff.
There's some good stuff down the road still too, I think.
What'd you give this?
I'm giving it 4.25. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was a 4.25 out of 5. Great stuff. Next up, Absolute Green. This was not on my, whatever they say, not on my bingo card for 2025. That I was going to be praising all new Venom. That's strange. Absolute Green Lantern #2, Chris.
Yeah, reading this, kind of see what's going on in this Green Lantern world. I think we left it with was that not Jessica Jones, Jessica Cruz? Is that who is the Green Lantern that's there?
No, I forgot her. I keep forgetting her name. It's not Jessica Cruz. She's that Jessica Cruz, that Hispanic one. This is, I forgot. I'll look it up, but go ahead.
Either way, I think they kind of got her and Hal Jordan. They were sort of in that diner after he just unleashed whatever the blackness or the darkness in him. And I think just a lot of the story is kind of what that blackness was, and it kind of rehashes what's been going on.
Joe Mullen, or Joe. Yeah, that's her name. Yeah. Joe Mullen. Yeah. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just kind of rehashing what's going on in the town. And, I think, they mentioned some Guy Gardner business there, stuff too. So, there's a lot of familiar names. I'm kind of curious as to how they're being played or what's happening in there. So I didn't mind reading it, but, I'm not a big Green Lantern fan to begin with. And I thought this might be somewhere I can jump in on. It's okay, but I don't know. I think this Absolute Universe is starting to run thin on me too.
I like the stuff with Abin Sur in this. Like, there's definitely like an interesting like darkness and horror aspect of this Green Lantern so far. I would say like there's some stuff brewing here where I could see it turning into something interesting. And then after the first issue, I don't know. I thought the first issue made you think that Hal Jordan was dead, but then I guess he's not in this. And then now it's just all of a sudden we have like 4 Green Lanterns, like John Stewart's there, Joe, Hal, and then I think what's his name was mentioned in here too. If he didn't show up, Guy Gardner was mentioned, I think, right? I don't. Oh no, he is here. Yeah, that's him. He's a cop or so. Is that him?
Yeah, something happened to him too. Like he disappeared or something.
So like all of like the Green Lanterns as you know it, for the most part, like some of the main ones anyways, are all in the mix now in this, but all of a sudden in the second issue as a result of this alien crash landing here. And the Abin Sur kind of angle that's different in this book. It almost felt like Dragon Ball alien type of stuff going on here. I don't know. Like it's playing with some elements to it that I feel like are not like any Green Lantern comic that I've read. I haven't read that many, mind you, but I am liking that about it. It's okay. I don't know if it's going to keep my attention. We'll see, but I might give it another issue. So far, so good. I like you said, I haven't really read a lot of Green Lantern myself either. I've actually just recently started reading the Jeff Johns Green Lantern, the omnibus that I have. I've never read it before. And it's decent so far, but it's one of those books I heard was amazing for so long that I read the first volume and I was like, it's good, but it's not like blowing me away either. Maybe I'm just not a Green Lantern fan for the most part. I don't know. But yeah, not bad. Some interesting parts in this. Good stuff happening. And you know, everyone's fate. I don't know what's going on with Hal Jordan there. He's got his whole hand there is like encased in black now, right? Like this.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's some evil presence going on with him, right? I don't know, but we'll see what happens. What'd you give this?
I'll give it 3.75. It's okay.
Same. All right, and then got Absolute Superman #7.
What happened in this one here? Is this one about Brainiac, or is that reading something else?
Yes, this was the Brainiac issue where they basically introduced Brainiac to this Absolute Superman universe, essentially.
Yeah, so that seems like that Brainiac was just like some low-level Brainiac in like some Brainiac collective, and then that whole collective gets wiped out, and he seems to survive just because he was like in the basement. What was he doing? Well, he was kind of just throwing all the old Brainiacs into like a pit.
Yeah, he was like some Brainiac 45625, whatever, like some like long number. And he was his whole job was to basically get rid of the refuse, the waste dead Brainiacs that he killed. He had to shovel them basically like in an incinerator, and he was like left in the basement of this space station where the actual Brainiac created all these other Brainiacs essentially. And I guess all the other ones were failed versions of himself essentially that he's just basically making him wipe away. I love this issue. I thought this is the best issue of the series so far for me, honestly. This really surprised me because I've all but given up on this, but this issue, just as a singular story, the way he wrote him was almost like serial killer like. The way I thought this was excellent. Like, just what a great single issue of this character. I think this is one of the best Brainiacs I've ever read, honestly. This was so interesting, the way he approached the character. I just thought Jason Aaron knocked it out of the park. It kind of felt like a Hickman villain or something, almost just like he was very cold and you know what I mean? Like, the way he wrote the character, it felt like the Maker, like the ultimate Fantastic Four, like Reed, essentially the evil Reed Richards. Like, it felt like something like that. The approach that Jason Aaron took here. I just thought this, and it's so messed up. He's like half cyborg, half man, like half alien or whatever. Yeah. Great stuff. I don't know.
I find one of Jason Aaron's strengths is when he has like a team of one type of character, like in that Avengers Forever. Like, you remember that? I don't know if you remember that Captain America one where he's in jail, and then there's all those other Captain Americas, and you know he's done it again here with the Brainiac, and you know he almost did it, I guess, reverse. He went from a whole team of Brainiacs just down to one. But it's good stuff. And then the stuff they have with Peacemaker too, isn't it whatever that Peacemaker is? He's all tied up in a bed because Brainiac's trying to get information about Superman, and you know, and then just kind of that ominous tone at the end. You go, you know, we're going to be the hottest area, the hottest activity in the United States, and it's like Smallville, Kansas.
Yeah, he's a psychopath. Like, he wrote him so well. Like, this is a villain. This is actually probably the best villain I've seen in any of these Absolute books so far. I gotta be honest with you. In this one issue, I think he's established that. I even like the part where like he's like fiddling with his brain. It's exposed and he's like doing stuff to his own. He's like tapping into like different things in his head. He's like, I'll fix this later or whatever. I just really, really well written. Like he knocked this characterization out of the park for me. Like I'm just like, wow, great stuff. Like, I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll read it this week just out of whatever self-interest of some sort. But I haven't been loving this absolute series. But if this is the villain for the rest of the arc, I think he's got something here. I honestly do. Like this was just an excellent character study of, and then basically, yeah, he became the prime Brainiac because he went upstairs. He's like, okay, I'm done. Whatever. How many?
Did they say what happened to all the other Brainiacs? Because he just seemed to went there and they're all dead.
Yeah, it seemed like he killed himself or something. The other Brainiac, I don't know, or he got killed. He was left there for thousands of years just doing that. And then he goes upstairs. He's like, okay, I'm done. And he finds the Brainiac dead. He's like, oh, I guess I'm Brainiac 1 now. And then he created a bunch of versions of himself now that he was the Brainiac, right? Like it's just really fascinating stuff. I was just like, this honestly feels like it would make sense like in the Ultimate Universe right now, the stuff they're doing. And like something like, so like for the absolute stuff for DC, I think he nailed it on the head. I think this is definitely his best issue that he's done of this. Not so much interested in his voice for Superman or how he's portrayed him so far, but like you said, this is his wheelhouse. This villain is excellent. Like great stuff on Jason Aaron's part. So yeah. What'd you give this?
Maybe I'll pump it up to a 4.
As you can tell,
still go with Superman though.
Yeah, I agree. But
he wasn't in here, so
yeah. I gotta give it up, man. For me, as you can tell how much I enjoyed, I gotta give it like a 4.5. I was shocked this week reading this. I was like, whoa, when did this book get good? This might just be the only time it is. I don't know, but I'll take it. I was like, this was excellent. If you guys haven't been reading this book, you can honestly just jump in, read this one issue, and if you like this character, maybe follow the next arc or something. I think it's totally
that might be because that first arc
boring.
That wasn't the greatest.
Yeah, no, it's really like if this is him, like he established everything he had to in that first arc, and this is him now off to the races. I'm in for the ride for now. I'm back on the book, honestly. So we'll see. And then we got Gromit's number 7, which is the conclusion of this series. This little series about a bunch of skateboard culture and kids hanging out. Yeah. What'd you think, Chris?
Well, once again, it's the sort of the slice of life comic book. They seem to wash everything that happened in the first 4 issues pretty much under the rug.
Yeah.
And then this was him. I guess the one kid is about to leave, and then his parents give him that. The deadline. You got to be here by 6 o'clock. So he runs out and does a few things there, and he meets up with his buddy, and they skate down whatever freaking Dead Man's Curve, whatever they called it here, and they have a great time doing it. And then I guess he finds out he meets up with his friend back in Arizona, and they end up in some skate park where they get challenged to do to jump the shark or whatever, and go down some super tall drop in or something. So that's good. It's good fun stuff.
My favorite part about this was, like you said, like at the end of the day, after that whole party went wrong and they got beat up by the jocks, and then the cops apparently were in on it in a way because they care about the football team of the town. So of course they didn't reprimand the jocks like they should have, even though the guy busted out a gun and like all this shit happened, and they they didn't get in trouble basically. And at this point, the kid left and moved away, and I like how his friend followed him there, though. Like 3 weeks later, he actually ended up going to live out there as well. So his best friend that he got from this town, he was able to at least come with him. He kissed the girl finally, got to kiss the girl goodbye. And I liked all that stuff. My favorite part about all this, though, is the way it ended in a Soprano-like ending of some sort. Where
Did you hear the Don't Stop Believing?
Yeah. He's about to hit that huge ramp and go down, and all of a sudden it fades to black. And I flipped the page, and then I thought you're gonna see him like wipe out or successfully pull the ramp off. And because he's like, yeah, this is my destiny now. We gotta like make a name for ourselves in this new town. Because like they're trying to hang out with the new skateboard kids that they came across, right? They're like, no, we gotta look cool in front of these guys. So his buddy's like, okay, I'll do it. So he's about to drop in, and and then it cuts to black, and I was like, very nice, very well done. I was like, I liked that. I hope they in the letters column he alluded to possibly returning to this.
Yeah, I can see them coming back to this for sure.
Yeah, if you're gonna do these like little slice of life tales with these guys, and maybe like insert more stories from them as they were younger, with this fictionalized versions of Rick Remender and Brian Posehn being these kids, the ones that are together in this, kind of talking about their own experiences skateboarding and stuff like that. I'm here for it. I had a lot of fun with this series. What'd you give this, Chris?
Yeah, I give it a 4, and I give the series a 4. It was an enjoyable read.
Yeah, I'll go 4.25 for both, for the series and for the issue. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'll definitely be picking up the collection of this because even though I picked up the issues, I love Remender stuff. I usually always buy his stuff for the shelf as well. So I'm glad this was what it was and it didn't go on for like 20 issues. Come back anytime. I think that's the way to do these stories, honestly. Although I would have taken it. I would have taken more issues, honestly. That would have been a big deal for me. But I think like these type of stories, you don't need to have all those issues for them. Yeah, here he
they're
is.
kind of doing what they want. Take your time doing it. Even if it comes out every couple months, it's not a big deal. This isn't like some like some big series where you got to know what happens. But if you're gonna put your time into it, make it good. I don't mind at all.
Yeah, this is where he's about to go down. Fade to black. All right, Chris, the Scorched 40.
Scorched 40. What do I got here? There's always decent covers on Scorch. Anytime they got She Spawn in there.
Oh yeah.
Generally, I'm trying not to pull them, but somehow he always has them pulled. Oh, you want this here? Okay, I'll take it. And what do you hear at the time? I don't know what's going on in this world. The team's all back together. I think it starts out with this is one of the Scorched parents or something. I think Spawn. He was beating up his kids, and Spawn sort of kind of gave him his just punishments, and he's got all this stuff here on. Anyways, that's a little bit of a prologue. Then it goes back to where they are now, and I think it's the Redeemer and the Reaper. They're at odds with each other because I think this Reaper saw visions of the future where somehow the Redeemer is responsible for the end of the world, so he tries to kill him. But of course, the Redeemer's he's on the Scorched team, so all the Scorched members kind of stand up for him and say, "Hey, if you're an enemy of his, you're an enemy of mine." And then it turns out that the Redeemer and that Reaper are actually the same person one's from a different timeline. Okay. So that was the big reveal there. And then it goes down into hell, and then that cop you saw in the beginning, he's supposed to have been tortured in hell, and he never broke. And whoever's running or whatever demon's following him down there, he's like, "Oh, what are you going to do now that I'm going to set you free? You passed all the tests." And he goes, "Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do." And I think he's going after this guy. So, and that's where it ends. It's good stuff. It's not a comic you can really drop in and out of, but it's always decent art, some fun characters, always a lot of action. So in that sense, you can, but to find out what's going on in this whole world, this might be something where you read and trade, where you can kind of get a lot of the progress all at once.
Yeah.
I'd give this a 3.75.
Okay. Next up, I got Fantastic Four Fanfare #1. You didn't read this, right?
No.
So basically, I think this is a 4-issue series where it's the Fantastic Four anthology. I guess they're putting it out maybe because the upcoming movie, and what it's featuring is every issue, I guess, is some of the artists and writers that have worked on Fantastic Four over the years. So in this one, you get Mark Waid on the first story, who did a great run of Fantastic Four. I really love Mark Waid's Fantastic Four run. I think from maybe the 2000s. I have a hardcover collection of it, of the whole thing. It's really good. And then you got Alan Davis, who wrote and drew a story in this. And then you got Sarah Pacelli, I think, did a story in this with somebody else, the artist. Basically, the best story in this, though, is the Mark Waid one. And even that one's like just okay. Basically, the thing in Mark Waid's opening story with Ramon Rosales on art, he gets he I don't know, he loses his cool about something and basically like ends up in court because he like destroyed something because he's a hothead. And the judge is like, well, you've been here before and you really haven't learned your lesson, and I can't make you go to jail because that would be bad for us because I'm going to send you to jail and you help the city. So, I'm gonna basically your family is going to be responsible for keeping an eye on your anger, and you have to not freak out for like a week or something like that, like lose your cool. So then Johnny, of course, is elated by this because he's like, this is fantastic. Now I'm just going to pull pranks on this guy and you can't get mad and it's going to be great, right? Because, of course, he's such a shithead in their relationship. Like, he loves screwing with them. And that's basically the story. Then it cuts to like all these like pinups of him screwing with him with different pranks. And then it kind of ends with Johnny kind of getting him back a little bit. Sorry, Ben getting him back a little bit at the end. But yeah, you basically get these Marvel Masterwork pinups of him screwing around with him and a bunch of pinup shots. And, it was fun, but it wasn't anything like, you'd go run out and pick up this issue right away. It was fine. But yeah, that was the best story in it. Honestly, other than that, not much to write home about. Yeah, he shows up here at the end, and what does he do to him? Oh yeah, he gets screwed over and he has to like pick up community service, has to pick up horse shit or something, like basically because he got caught trying to screw around with them. He like brought a lawyer in or something and he got him back as a result. Kind of a ridiculous premise. But and then Alan Davis story, I don't even remember what happens. Just if you like Alan Davis on art, you might like this, but it was a pretty forgettable story. But I guess it's cool to see him draw it. And then yeah, this one's stupid. It basically is making fun of also all the stories, like it's centered mostly in on Johnny. Now I don't know if all four of these issues is supposed to center in on like a different character of the Fantastic Four. It would make sense, I guess, because it's 4 issues. Every story, the main focus I think was on Johnny in this one also. And this last one, it shows Johnny, he's like on one of these like reality TV shows, Isle of Love or something, and they're watching him on TV be as part of this thing and have to do these dates with people or something. I don't know. It's, again, another stupid story though. By the end of it, I was just like, whatever. Sarah Pacelli drew it, but it was just fine. I'd give this 3.25 out of 5. It's again an anthology. I'll probably at least read the next issue because Jonathan Hickman is writing a story in that one, and I love his Fantastic Four. So I'll definitely check that out at least. JSA number 7. This series has been fine. It's been good. It hasn't been blowing me away either. This is Jeff Lemire on the JSA. I will say, though, just like Absolute Superman, he wrapped up the first arc, which was pretty drawn out and kind of introducing all the characters, young and old, of this JSA story that he is building in. Wildcat, who I couldn't remember his name last time for the life of me. I remember we talked about this book, ended up getting killed, though, it looks like, at the end of that last arc. And he's a pretty big deal character, so I don't know if he's actually going to stay dead, at least in terms of legacy. He trained Batman and stuff. He was just in Black Canary recently, the best of the best, Wildcat. So, I don't think this is for good, but they're at his funeral here, all the old and new JSA members, and this was just like a nice issue to launch the second kind of arc of this series. I thought that Jeff Lemire did a really good job in this one, had a lot of the great dialogue between the characters, and it gave them a really good moment for a lot of them to reflect about their relationship with Wildcat. And in this issue, the big guns came to kind of calling because they made a mess of whatever was going on with all the members in the first arc. Superman, Batman, the Trinity, Wonder Woman show up in this, and they're like, yeah, maybe you guys could use some help. And Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and some of the other members are like, fuck you guys. This is our team. Get the hell out of here. If it wasn't for the JSA, there'd be no JLA. We're your forefather. You know what I mean? Basically, we've put our time in. We have established how important this team is and how we are. So mind your own business. We know we can call on you for help if we need you, but kind of stick your nose out of it. And I thought that was great because I'm like, yeah, you know what? It made sense to me. I was like, I get it. It is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, but they're like, we got things underhand. Don't worry, underway. We're going to figure this out. Don't worry. So, we'll figure everything out here. Although, they do have a dead team member. And it doesn't look so good, but we'll see what happens. At least they Yeah, this is them showing up there. I just thought it was a great moment that I wasn't expecting at the end of this issue. So good stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then he's also setting up this whole Kid Eternity thing that he set up last issue. Oh, yeah, that's right. And Wildcat, they already showed him in the afterlife. So, yeah, he's probably going to come back somehow. He kind of is with like a bunch of the old passed away members or members from the past, essentially, of the JSA and like the afterlife. And it says that this arc's called Valhalla at the end here. So, yeah, this is probably going to have some sort of thing where maybe he's going to bring back all these characters. I don't know. So, all right. I give that 4 out of 5. It was solid. Batgirl number 7. Unlike these other things I just talked about, the first arc of this ended, which I enjoyed, and this issue sucked. This is basically Cassandra Cain now that her mother is gone. It looks like she got killed at the end of the last arc, and she went on her way. She has this book. I guess that's a journal or something of Lady Shiva's, and then it just tells this past story from Lady Shiva's perspective through the journal. It's boring. Like, I'm just like, I don't care about this. Like, I get it. Like, now she's reflecting on her mother's life and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know. I just really was more interested in seeing like what Cassandra Cain was going to be up to now after that first arc. And instead we got this issue, and I found this issue boring, and I kind of like read this one. So 3.25 out of 5. It may not have been the worst, but I just wasn't in the mood for it when I read it. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm still sticking with it. Like the first arc was very enjoyable, so this might just be a misstep on the story so far. But if we're gonna get like more journal entries, I might have to dip out for this next arc. We'll see what happens. Birds of Prey 21. Again, a book that I feel like continuously fails to rise to the occasion. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's okay. Basically, all the other members, Big Barda looks like she got taken out last issue, and all the other members have been systematically picked off against by some, we don't even know who the main bad guys are as of yet. That's kind of still, people are still showing up and messing with them, but we don't know who's behind everything as of yet, I feel like. And it's basically just them. The cool part about this issue was that they kind of did like a call out to all the members, even the ones that from the first arc, like Harley and Zealot from the Wildstorm character who were in the first arc, but then haven't been in the book since then. They kind of got the call in this one. It was like a Justice League kind of call type of thing. All birds of prey, like come and help out kind of thing.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing was, though, they showed John Constantine because he was in the last arc. I'm like, why is John Constantine on this page? I'm like, he's not a bird of prey. So I thought that was kind of weird. Like, so you're literally just calling every person that's been in the book so far. Like, okay, that's cool. So that was kind of weird. Otherwise, it was fine. I give this a 3.5. Like, that's kind of usually the sweet spot for this book lately. It's not terrible and it's not great. Like I said, it's okay. I'm reading it digitally, so I don't mind, and we'll see what happens. Oh, yeah, and then someone kind of, like, took the form of Big Barda, who they took out last issue somehow. Like, wherever these bad guys are, like, they somehow took the form of, like, Big Barda now, so I don't know if they, like, took her powers or some shape-shifting thing going on. I'm not sure. And then Farmhand 21. This is a series by Rob Guillory, writer. He wrote and drew this series. This was his first series doing outside of the series Chew that he wrote and drew, like as a writer artist. And I really love this series. I think it's been away for the last like 3 years, I think. And this is basically him just coming back. I have all the first 20 issues. I think there's 5 more issues left. And I don't know what the hell happened. He said some life stuff happened and he kind of abandoned the series for a bit during the pandemic. And now this is basically him just coming back and wrapping it up in one last arc. So I was a big fan of his on Chew. He was an artist I really enjoyed, very cartoony style. I got original art of his, love his stuff. This series just all right. Always, I thought it was fine, but I kept buying the book because I like him as an artist. And yeah, I can't tell you I remember a lot of what happened from 3 years ago or whenever this book last came out. I'll just read the last final arc and that'll be it. I got the issue here. Basically a big character died at the end of the last issue. They're dealing with the fallout of that in this issue, and they're basically coming close to catching the person who did it, like the main bad guy of this series, essentially. And Farmhand, this is like a series about like these plant monsters, essentially. At first, it started out as a thing where they were able to create like limbs and stuff for people out of like some farm material, so you could have like a plant arm or something. But then they lost control of whatever this invention that they created was. Basically, the plants became sentient, and then like people became evil because like the plants would go into like their brain stem or something. I don't know, like their brain. And yeah, it just became like a body horror type of comic. It seemed like after a while, sci-fi kind of thing with like a family element. I give this 3.5 out of 5. It was fine, but I think it probably would have given it more if I had a lot more context for what happened before. They didn't even do an intro page catching the readers up, though, which I think is a big fail on his part. Huge fail. I was like, where's the little rundown of what happened last issue? You know, like, yeah, you could have really did that for the readers, honestly. I feel like at this point, he's like, listen, the few thousand people who are fans that will pick this up, you know, like that's,
if you know, you know.
if you know, you know. Yeah, I had a hard time. I wasn't completely lost, but I would have enjoyed a little catch up, little blurb at the very least, right? And yeah, K at 26. Not too much to add about this, but this was a really good issue. New story arc started with this one, so made a lot of new headway in the storyline with the characters and where they're at. And they have a new person that's part of their group now that's been accompanying them and teaching her little brother how to kind of use his actual magic powers that we learned that he has now, and how to tap into it and kind of use them. So yeah, it's very cool. Great art, fun time as always. And by the end of it, they came across like these robot characters that we haven't seen in a few issues that are really interesting. And like a kind of like a slave encampment where they got a bunch of people, looks like prisoners at the end of this. So I thought this was a good issue, and I give this a 4 out of 5 this week. It was nice. Every few issues, this is you get like a really good issue, I feel like, out of this series. It's always good, but like every so often, a lot of stuff happens in an issue, and it kind of gets me jazzed up for the new direction of what's going to go on now. All right, Chris, the moon is following us, number 9.
This is 9 of 10, I think.
Yeah.
This is a crazy comic.
Yeah.
Like just this is like an exercise in imagination for sure. Like, I don't know, what's one of the weapons he used in here is that head on it's like a mace with the head.
Shark head, yeah.
No, not the shark head. It's that girl's head or something. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's like a mace.
And he's got the baby seat, the car seat at one point he uses, like the weapon, there's a car seat weapon that he uses.
Yeah, and then what you say, then the shark on a stick or whatever.
Yeah.
And whatever's going on in the story, they seem to be, busting out of this whatever level of dream they're in. And it seems the nightmare people are friendlies, and they're going to try and, kind of protect the mother and daughter from, I guess, that old man that was in the beginning. I still don't know why he's doing all this stuff, but he's the main villain, I imagine.
Because his kid is also in a coma in that world.
Yeah. Anyways, it's still moving along pretty good. It's crazy stuff. They escape there, and then you think they're free, or she escapes one level and on that stuffed unicorn or something. And then the father, the husband, he seemed to be out of the picture, and he kind of appears out of nowhere to save the mother and daughter. And and then they're trying to go free, and he's like, well, I can't go with you on this one. And I don't know, he fades into energy or something. It's just hitting on all these unexpected notes that you would, at least I wasn't expecting. And this is good stuff.
That's just DWJ, man. He likes pulling on the heartstrings, this guy.
Right. And then he still got to throw in some wrestling. Does she suplex somebody in this?
Yeah, she does.
Somewhere there?
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
DWJ. He's always got to put a suplex in somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't got too much to add to that, honestly. Like you said, it's a crazy story. Great adventure, fantasy type stuff going on here. Great art. And yeah, he brings it all home here at the end where the father looks like he dies and the daughter and the mother get away, and just tragic stuff happens at the end of this story. And it's just like all built, and like again, the pacing I think is one of the best things he is as a writer. His stories are always well paced out in terms of the story beats. And right up to the end, he has something interesting happening to the characters every issue, honestly. So yeah, I can't say more than that about this. I think this is going to be a great collection for anybody who missed out on the issues. One more issue to go. I think he's going to stick the landing on this one. Definitely go check this out if you missed out on this one. Yeah, this is him with the baby seat. Basically, they have like use these like things from the real world, like totems as weapons, essentially in this dream world, right? So he used the baby seat in that weird shark head weapon thing that he has, which is pretty crazy. But he's able to take out that thing at the end, but he gets incinerated himself. It looks like he turns to dust in front of their eyes.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like, yeah, but you're right though. I'm glad the father stepped up though, because he hasn't been able to the last couple of issues because like his own trauma or whatever. He kind of stepped down, it seemed like. So he kind of came to the rescue in this one, which I'm happy about. Of course, he had to sacrifice himself, right, to do that. So,
yeah.
Good stuff. What'd you give this?
Yeah, let's give it 4.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Yeah. All right. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe for the last time, number 2.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first issue a bit more. This one is just more, it seems just more fan service stuff. You got him kind of, fighting. What did he fight first? They kind of pick a couple really wacky villains for him to kill. The first one was that Venom on that 6-armed bug Spider-Man. So, I got some nice action. I'll give him that. And then, the next few pages were just kind of splash pages of just different variant villains and all that. And then, you end up getting a Captain America, the Hydra the Hydra captain or whatever they called him.
Catwolf.
Then you think that Captain Hydra, and he seems pretty cool there. And then he turns into Cap Wolf on top of that.
Yeah.
You kind of get some good action with that fighting there. And I guess the storyline underneath there is that whoever that I don't know if it's a hologram or that kind of spirit that's following him, he's kind of starting to question why he's doing all this sort of stuff. He does bond with Venom too, so that's always good. Can't complain about that. I'm just reading this online as well, so it's a fun read.
Yeah, I will say like what you had said there about it in a way that, yeah, I think it's still very one note though. It's basically more of the same that you got from the first issue, but it's fun. Your art's good, and you get to see a bunch of random characters show up, basically, that he kills. That's basically the book. Like it's
basically you don't even get to see him kill. Like basically just see like the picture of the villain, and you just have to assume he killed him. You don't know how. It's just they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess they end up there. What's at the end? They're at the Xavier's mansion. So
yeah,
I guess next issue is going to be him killing mutants.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, not bad though. What'd you give this?
I got 3.75.
Yeah, I was gonna give it 3.5, but I did enjoy seeing a lot of the characters that he was killing in this.
I do like the Venom too, where you can kind of see his eyes. Yes. It's not so much of the jokey Venom either.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, we talked about it in the first issue too. I really like how the artist draws this guy, that he just looks like a guy in a suit, Deadpool.
Yeah,
like the fact that you can see his eyes like coming out of the costume more.
Yeah, it's not just white eyes. It's not like he has Spider-Man eyes or whatever that kind of go big and go small.
Yeah, it's not Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. Essentially, it's Deadpool like a guy in the suit. Like it's very clear that that's the case right here. So I like that. West Coast Avengers number 7.
I don't know. This one's starting to grow on me, I think. But I think they're just kind of diluting the story too much with this what's this Wonder Man and Kilowatt, with his father and with the tragedy stuff. I was kind of really interested in the Ultron stuff, with that Ultron coming back. And you thought the Ultron that was running the church was a bad guy, and then you get some guy that's even worse coming in there.
Yeah.
And frying. I mean, like I said, I always thought it was interesting what they're trying to do with Ultron here, but it kind of got lost in a bit of that Wonder Man story. Because isn't that near the end when I guess Spider-Woman's kind of checking out that Ultron scene, and she sees shit's basically hitting the fan, and you see them all together, and it's only Iron Man that takes off, and he's like, oh. And it's Ultra Wonder Man and Kilowatt. Oh, I'll take you to your father. Like, I think you got some bigger things going on. They should have been sort of all heading out to see this Ultron business. But
Yeah.
and then he throws him in jail with and Flag Smashers there. So we'll see what he's going. Looks like Kilowatt might be put to the test.
Yeah, this series definitely has grown on me. I do like a lot of what's going on in this series. This issue was just okay for me though. I think it's weird. I didn't like how it started, but by the end of it, there were some interesting things going on in this issue, and I did like a couple of the moments. And that's kind of how I felt about this series, honestly, the whole time. Like, it's not clicking 100% with me, but there's always something about it where I do appreciate some of the stuff happening in it, and I do like some of the characters, and I do like what's going on with the storyline with the whole Wonder Man thing where he went to see his father who hates him. That was kind of a cool scene. I did like that. And like you said, the Ultron stuff with an even worse Ultron coming into play here. Like I really, and Wonder Man has an interesting history with Ultron as well. Like he's part of Ultron, so like there's a lot of West Coast Avengers type stuff that's kind of coming to the forefront here in this story. Despite it being a very different team and a very different type of book, honestly. So at least from what I remember, but at the end of the day, you still have Iron Man, in the red and white suit and flying around. So it's kind of fun to see that kind of stuff as well, right? So.
Yeah, I just did like the way they kind of split the story 50-50, and both stories are sort of really different. They should have kind of done a 75-25. And I don't really care which way they would have done it. Like I love I love the Wonder Man stuff. Yeah, I haven't seen this guy in ages, and he seems to be more of a Avengers type Wonder Man, not so much the pacifist type Wonder Man.
Yes.
And I'd like to see him freaking let go, and I do hope there's a showdown between Ultron and Wonder Man, because that's something, they have a big history together.
Yeah, him, Vision, and Ultron are all part of the same.
Basically, they should throw Vision in the mix. If you got Ultron in there, Vision's got to be around somewhere.
Exactly. And I think he's freed up right now. Is he? He's not in the Avengers book, is he? I can't remember. Is he in the Jed McKay Avengers book? He can still show up in this. It doesn't matter. Yeah, not bad. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5 though. Like it's good stuff, but it's just not. It's not together yet.
No, this is I didn't like this one as much as the last couple of issues. I agree, 3.5, just because like you said, it was very uneven with the story, like the way they split the difference there. I agree. Storm number 8.
This one is where did we leave off last one with Thor showing up, right?
Yeah.
And Thor on the cover. I thought Thor would be a big part of the story. No. He's there for like the first couple pages, and he's like, oh, they kind of touch on a story point with all these Thunderers fighting for what? I didn't even know where that storyline came from. But I guess Storm sort of shows a little bit of arrogance there. When this guy shows up, he's gonna want to be the needs to call for help. I don't need none of your help, Thor. And Thor's like, okay, fuck, whatever, I'm out. And he takes off. And then you see her back in the sanctuary, preparing for her biggest battle yet. You think it's these gods are these thunder gods fighting isn't big enough. It's her going to the government, which I didn't mind that either. I thought that was a good story going through, but they should have just put that through the whole issue. Like even the stuff there too within the beginning with Iron Man and T'Challa. They had a couple good digs at each other, but it didn't fit the story or anything. It didn't kind of fit the vibe of this story.
How about this part?
There were funny digs.
But how about that part, Chris, where they're both talking about like hooking up with women, and then there's this arrow that's pointing to Reed Richards, where it's like happily.
Yeah, what's that about?
This is such a weird.
Randomly.
It is such a weird book, this book, and I love it, but it's so odd. It's such a I didn't
like that one panel is unnecessary.
No, I know. I was like, what is going on here? Like they don't
like this page belongs in X Factor. Like that's the X Factor vibe, and then it goes into like a totally serious vibe where she's getting interrogated by the U.S. government and all this stuff. She thinks she has the answers, and at the end she's going to be arrested, and I guess we're going to see if she's going to use her powers to blast out of there, or she's going to submit to the U.S. government.
Yeah, because Black Panther used to be married to Storm, so like Iron Man makes a dig at him about Storm. He's like, I'm gonna go spend the night with Emma Frost. He's like, touche. Yeah,
you don't want to wait around for Storm? He goes, oh no, I got a date with Emma Frost. He goes, oh, okay. And then he points to Reed. What's he doing there?
But yeah, every time I pick up I read an issue of this, I kind of gotta get myself resituated, and then from the first page to the last, she's in a completely different like kind of story
Yeah.
by the end of it, and they all like are nice, fun standalone issues, great art. It is such a weird book, though. I don't know. I can't. I can't tell you what kind of book this is. It's definitely not it doesn't feel like an ongoing Storms series, but it is so strange. I
Yeah,
love
like
it.
I feel like the next issue, like the prologue, like it'll solve this cliffhanger in the first page of the next issue, and then she'll be off on some other adventures, like totally unrelated.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed the issue. It's good stuff. I'd give this a 3.75.
Yeah. Same. Good stuff. Yeah.
Worthy on.
I do enjoy it. Yeah. Um. Next up, we got Ultimate Wolverine #5.
Oh, Ultimate Wolverine #5. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, we should just call this Ultimate X-Men or Ultimate Mutants.
Yeah.
I guess they couldn't use Ultimate X-Men because they gave it to the freaking baloney Ultimate X-Men title.
Yeah.
But of course, if it's Ultimate Wolverine, you got to have Ultimate Creed out there. And I always like when they have freaking Victor Creed as a good guy. He seems like such a good guy when he's a good guy. And I guess there he's trying to rescue those kids. I like seeing Leech and whoever that other Morlock is. You haven't seen those guys like since freaking back in the New Mutant days when they're running around in the tunnels. So it's good seeing the call out to them. I love seeing Black Widow, how she fits into the story. And sooner or later they're gonna have to try and get Wolverine freaking out of this Winter Soldier business. But this was a better issue than the last one, sure, than when he was fighting the bear the whole time. I guess this one here they kind of have a throwdown. It's always a good one. It's a throwdown between Wolverine and Sabretooth. And yeah, it was an enjoyable issue.
Yeah, agreed. Way better than last issue. Great action scenes, great panels. Really cool part. Like there's even a part where Wolverine like sticks his claw at him, and you see him retract and bring the claw back in and out, like stabbing him. And I'm loving this Alex Lins. I don't know if you recognize the artist on this, Chris. This is, I think, his first issue on this series. This is the same artist that just did Plastic Man No More, and he's the same artist who was doing him and another artist were drawing some. He was, I think, doing the past sequences in the Namor series that Jason Aaron just did.
Yeah,
this guy's popping up on a lot of books I've been reading lately and enjoying. So I mean, I thought he looked great here. So this,
no complaints about the art. I thought it was good.
Yeah, and just really good little panel work that he did, all like the smaller panels, like kind of showing all like the action kind of stuff going on, like the punches and the stabs and all that. This guy's like an up and comer. I'm pretty certain now. He's been on a lot of big stuff lately. So good year for him. Great stuff. Really enjoyed this issue. Yeah, I had a really fun time with this. I love being in this world. What'd you give this, Chris?
I'll hit it with a 4.
Yeah. 4 out of 5. And then, Black Widow shows up at the end and basically tranks him. And they looks like they're taking him in now, and hopefully they can kind of unscramble his brain now between them now, because he's got like a bunch of friends. X-Men 16.
X-Men 16, yeah, of course they're keeping me alive with the Alex Ross covers.
Yeah,
with Captain Marvel there. That's not a bad cover at all.
No,
it's usually the women are a little tough, so nice to see a nice one there.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And for the comic there, what are these? The 3K X-Men. I know what the plan is for these guys, because basically it's almost another one of these Avengers stuff where everybody's evenly matched and they're all fighting, and then they finally, whatever, Scott just said, hey, stop the fighting. What the hell do you guys freaking want? And then they're there, we're going to be the new Avengers. We're the we're tomorrow, you guys are yesterday, and we're just going to pass it, or we're testing you, and we'll see what's going on. But none of these new these 3K X-Men really excite me. I don't see too many characters there that really blowing me away. So we'll see how it goes. And frick, where's Ryan Stegman? Come on, buddy, come on. How many issues are we in here? Where you did like 2 of these?
Yeah, I think he was on the last 2 issues and he's gone again. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm done with all the X-Men books. I just none of these, like, I was like, if there's gonna be one I stick with, I thought it was gonna be this, but none of these are really exciting me at this point. Like, none of them are like, you get a really good issue here and there, but none of them are consistently good.
Yeah.
The one series that was different and interesting that I was reading is ending now next week, X Factor. I think the Ultimate Wolverine is probably the most interesting mutant book I'm reading, but yeah, there's nothing. I don't know. This issue was fine. It just, but nothing to write home about either.
Yeah.
I'm just not invested in this story. I feel like it's bounced around too much and there's no focus in this book. And then I feel like every other issue or every 2 issues, we'll get an issue where we're like, okay, yeah, this was pretty good, but like not enough for me to justify continue buying this book every month. Right?
Not.
Like, yeah. And like you said, it's gotten lucky the last few issues because between the Capcom covers and the Alex Ross covers, we've kept buying this one. But I think in the future, I might just be picking this up for a cover here and there. I don't think I'll be.
Yeah. I think there might be another cover coming out after this, but I think their luck might be running out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm done with this one too. It's unfortunate. Like I'll read it digitally probably for the show sometimes and stuff like that, but not. I think I'm dropping like all X titles. Honestly, like this has just been we might just have to chalk this up to a bad era of the X-Men, and then it'll only be a couple years till they relaunch everything again. So it's not a big deal.
That's a thing now too. If you stop buying it sooner or later, they okay, this isn't working. And I know they have some Age of Apocalypse, some 30th anniversary crossover coming up soon. Maybe I'll jump in for that, but we'll see.
What'd you give this?
Yeah, 3.5, could even be less.
Yeah. I agree. 3.5, maybe even 3.25, honestly. Yeah. And finally, Amazing Spider-Man #3.
There we are. And unfortunately, this comic might be in the same boat as the X-Men. I'm in there for the next few issues because they got some great covers coming up. At least for the July solicitations, they have some Black Cat covers that Lee Brimojo, and then there's a Jeff Declan coming. I'll see what covers they got in August. But this story here that's going on with him still kind of freaking out on the drugs, and it's affecting his memory as when he was a kid or something. Okay, I've had enough of that. I don't really care what that he was a little punk, or at least he thinks he was a little punk when he was before he got his powers and with his friend there, and how things are working out at the work. The only thing that redeemed this comic is the art, and the art of the last page. I'm not a big fan of the Hobgoblin, but that is a freaking sick picture at the end with Hobgoblin coming into play. And here they're playing here. He's messing around with that Itsy Bitsy. I don't know what her freaking deal is, but she's like a clone of, or mixed DNA of Spider-Man and Deadpool. And she's got the hots for Spider-Man or something, like kind of psychopathically. I don't know. That's crazy business all around.
Yeah, I'm actually probably gonna have to part ways with you on this one. I actually think this is finally clicking for me with this third issue. I'm really enjoying this story, actually. A lot of it does have to do with the Pepe Larraz art, who I'll be coming to see at Fan Expo this. Shout out to him because he's fantastic. He was just announced for Fan Expo here in Toronto, but yeah, I think that I may not be saying the same thing when John Romita Jr. comes back on the book. But, right now, I'm digging this. It's growing on me. I think it's a very different type of Spider-Man story. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. Like you said, it's not really, it's not really striking your fancy so much. But I like some of the storytelling going on here, and I like that he's touching on things I feel like I haven't really seen that often in Spider-Man, at least as of lately. So, it's growing on me. I like the Norman Osborn stuff. I actually really love the Hobgoblin as a villain. So seeing him show up at the end I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't know. It's working for me a bit more now. I would say with this issue, especially for whatever reason, but yeah, I can get not being into some of the stuff going on here too. Like, I know you're not usually a fan of the past stuff when it shows them as kids and this kind of stuff. I know that's not usually your jam, and we've seen
What,
stuff
you've
like
been
that.
burned? How many times have I been burned on the Punisher?
Yes,
Freaking absolute Superman. Now this. It's crazy.
So basically, he comes. No, you're right. He basically comes across a facility that's making, like, I guess putting drugs in the soda or something, and that's what tripped. That's what he got tripped out on, and he comes across this whole, I guess, compound at the end here where they're producing it. And meanwhile, he got them to test the soft drink at his company there because he's about to get fired for tripping the fuck out at work. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what, Hobgoblin's like, what his deal is and all this. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, they're definitely keeping it like guest villain of the week so far, though, right? Like, we've had, like, what was it, Rhino first issue, second issue, Itsy Bitsy going into this, and now we have Hobgoblin showing up, right? So, or I guess he had all the other villains in his mind tripping out in that one issue, right? So,
Yeah, but nothing's really happening. He's throwing a freaking car around by himself. He's got Fight Club going on in his head.
What'd you give this?
It's 3.5.
Yeah, you know what? With the art, I'm gonna have to give it a 4. I'm liking it. I like this issue. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll see. All right. That's gonna do it for all the books we want to talk about this week. What are we reading next week, Chris?
Let's see. I'm gonna load this stuff up quickly here. So it's for the week of May 14th.
Yeah.
Okay, One World Under Doom. Oh, X Factor 10. Yeesh. Oh, I'll probably read Doctor Strange, see what's happening there. I don't know about this Spider-Man versus the Spider versus Venom verse, because generally there's been sort of no Peter Parker involved in that.
Yeah.
But I heard he might be, so maybe I'll read it, see what's going on. And yeah, so it's basically a small week from Marvel. What do we got from Image next week? Transformers 20.
Yeah.
This Battle Beast, I think I'm gonna grab that.
Yeah. Right.
14.
Good stuff.
Read the Phantom Road. That was a pretty good issue last time.
It's great. Yeah.
That's about it for Image for me. DC, Absolute Batman 8. Hopefully they're getting back into a good part of the story. Maybe read this Dark Patterns. That was pretty good last time.
Mm-hmm.
And this Supergirl one, I bought it. I saw some previews. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
DC versus Vampires.
Yeah.
Definitely get that. I'm worried that Supergirl's going to be in the young adult vibe, let's say, or the Harley Quinn type of vibe. That's the feeling I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
So I think I got a couple issues on pre-order, and that's it for that. But anyways, yeah, and DC versus Vampires, see what's going on there.
All right. So yeah, some good stuff next week. I got stuff I'm picking up physical release of. We got Absolute Batman number 8, DC versus Vampires World War V9. I don't know if this is coming out or not. It's written down here. It says Energon Universe Special 2025 comes out next week, which is that's the issue. Let me just look at the actual shipping list here because this is my pull list, unless it's wrong. This issue also came out on Free Comic Book Day, but I believe they're printing it for sale as well because it's like it's kind of tying everything together. Yeah, so it does come out next week. There's an Energon Universe Special, which is like kind of like the check-in for the year of all the Energon Universe stuff that they did last year as well. This is the 2025 one. This I'd urge you to check out, Chris, if you get a chance, even digitally. Exquisite Corpses number 1 comes out next week from James Tynion and Michael Walsh. That's a very interesting concept where there's like a bracket that's already out there of every issue is supposed to feature like a new character fighter type of thing. And there's all these going to be these people like showdowns of people fighting against one another each issue. And it's like a tournament of sorts. I don't know. It's 1 of 12 of an Image series. It sounds like it's going to be very interesting. And James Tynion rarely misses. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. And they got Godzilla versus X-Men number 1. One World Under Doom number 4, Phantom Road 12, like Chris said, that was really good last issue. Transformers 20, And the last issue of X Factor, and possibly my last X-Men book. Currently, we'll see. And then Dark Horse, a good release coming out from there as well next week. That's Huck Big Bad World by Mark Miller. Huge fan of the first Huck series, which is basically like his Superman as character, let's see, in the Millerverse, essentially. That was great. DC, these things are being digitally, if anything else. Yeah, I might read Supergirl 1 with you since you're going to be checking it out. Marvel or Image. Let me see if there's anything else there. No, I think that's it from Image. Oh, Geiger comes out next week. At least it's on the shipping list here. Oh, Invincible Universe Battle Beast #1, of course, too. Yeah, that I'm picking up. Actually, I forgot to say that one. That I'm picking up. And then Marvel, anything else from Marvel? Doctor Strange of Asgard. I think that's it, though. Oh, Red Hulk 4, too. Yeah. And and Thunderbolts Doomstrike. Basically all the One World Under Doom tie-ins that I read. I've dropped a couple of them, but those are the ones. I don't know. Are you invested at all with this whole Wolverine mother thing that happened at the end of that last issue? The thing with his mother?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah. Okay. I was a little curious, but I don't know. I don't think I'm curious enough to read it. I might just try to hear what happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, okay, that's gonna do it for what we're looking forward to picking up next week. Chris, what was your favorite book of the week this week?
Yeah, this was an easy one for me. It's the all new Venom. I loved it.
Yeah, I did. I loved it as well. It's not my favorite of the week, but it's definitely in the running. You know, Grommets was gonna be my pick. I read this one early this past week, and going into this week here, I was like, yeah, this is probably going to be the favorite. But out of nowhere, a book I've dropped now, I got to say it's Absolute Superman #7 for this single issue of Brainiac. I'm shocked. I really am. But I got to give it up to it because, like, I just thought it was so well written and such an interesting take on that character that, and just a singular issue of this whole, I haven't loved anything else really going into this issue like that's been going on Absolute Superman. It's been fine. Like, it hasn't been terrible, but it's like out of all the Absolute books, I think it was the one that we were least interested in. And this really kind of set the tone for possibly an interesting story with this character. So I got to give it to Absolute Superman #7 this week. Just edged out Grommets, the end of Grommets. Overall, though, that was a great series as well. And all new Venom. What a fun book. Honestly, that's a fun ass book, man. I look forward to more of that. And Carlos Gomez. I hope he comes to Fan Expo. That's what I want. I need some Carlos Gomez over at Fan Expo now that all these guys, he might be Italian, right? I don't know. Or Spanish of some sort. I don't know. Carlos Gomez. Yeah. Carlos. Yeah. I think, I don't know. We'll see. We got to wrangle him for Fan Expo, though. Come on, Carlos. Maybe we'll tag him in this episode. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks, everybody. Thank you to Chris, as always. And we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, take it easy.
Later.